Hello, my name is Tom Kerwin. I'm founding principal of BKL Architecture. I'm pleased to present the project design overview to you today. As described earlier, the site is rectilinear in shape, oriented in the east-west direction. It's bound by Eads to the west and Richmond Highway to the east, and existing buildings to the north and the south. This sets of diagrams describe how the building came to be shaped and the form of the building in compliance with the sector plan 60 feet from the existing buildings to the north and the south at the tower and 40 feet at the podium. We believe this opportunity, as required by the sector plan, also adds to the richness of the form and the massing of the building. The uses, which we'll describe: retail at the base holding the Eads Street elevation at grade. We're going to go into further detail about the pedestrian experience along Eads and ideally eventually along Richmond Highway. Multifamily residential above podium of amenity and retail and lobbies, and then an articulated top which allows for outdoor space, amenity space, and mechanical space which is screened to improve also the skyline as required in the sector plan. The introduction of the podium, a middle and a top as required by the sector plan with change in materiality and articulation and setbacks at the top of the building. The skin of the building, the fenestration, the exterior wall is formed by many things, including the orientation of each facade, the introduction of horizontal and vertical expression, and then an expanded grid that occurs at the shift that's indicated in the lighter blue to further break down the massing and provide for a richness of materiality, color, and fenestration. This is the view along Eads, looking slightly south. You'll see again this goal of the sector plan, which is very important, which is to enhance the pedestrian experience and create a vibrant community, a unified community that brings together all elements of a vibrant mixed-use neighborhood with the allowance for the new bicycle lanes along Eads, a pedestrian-friendly, walkable experience with landscaping, with retail frontage along the major frontage along Eads with generous ceiling heights to allow for vibrant retail, outdoor seating, the residential entry to the development, which is signified by the address 1400, the allowance for a pedestrian path along the north side of the building. You start to see the articulation and the break between the podium and the tower, and a slightly different view at dusk, same elevation, looking slightly north, showing this podium screening element that also serves as the portal for the vehicular entry and service entry, and also serves to screen those elements, again, as required by the sector plan, to pull those elements off the street in such a way that screens them, and also allows still, though, for a very highly visible retail corner. Some precedents that we looked at early on for the fenestration and the skin, we're looking at a precast skin, which allows for a variety of depth, shade and shadow, color, which we're very excited about. This slide starts to show some of the detail of the skin, which we believe is very environmentally sensitive. There is glazing, of course, to allow light and air and views to the units, but the majority of the skin is an opaque material, precast. We're looking at lighter grays and whites. We have two major zones on the north and south elevations depicted on the diagram in the lower right. The majority of the skin has this gridded condition of, again, white and grays that are highly articulated and very visible to the public realm along Eads and along Richmond Highway. The center zone, or the zone in the middle of the facade, the vertical zone, breaks the horizontality of the building and provides for a larger grid of a darker gray, signifying both the shift in massing and also some relief to the length of the building, breaking it with this vertical element. The east and west elevations are narrow. The narrow faces of the buildings are further broken down with the introduction of the horizontal and vertical expression of the precast and the grounding of the building at the base at both elevations. The long elevations, again, depicting the base, middle, and top, an articulated top, the grounding of the building with the darker precast, the grid that marches across the elevation but is broken by the larger, darker grid, and then the introduction of balconies in places which we believe are visually attractive from the outside, allowing for views, the view corridors past the existing buildings, but also work well with the units inside in the planning of the units. The north elevation with a similar idea, again, the breaking down of the long elevation with this vertical element where the shift occurs in the massing to comply with the setbacks. A detailed view of the podium and how the balconies are integrated into the design with the darker precast expression, the balconies with a lighter rail expression juxtaposed against the more solid precast. The detail along the Richmond Highway section, again with the building being grounded by the darker precast, and there'll be more detail provided later in the presentation of both the existing condition of Richmond Highway and the proposed lowering of Richmond Highway. Pulling back, hopefully tying everything together, an overall view of the building, again describing the richness of materiality, the variety of expression along the facades, the introduction of the balconies that also help to break the horizontality of the site and the building with these vertical expression of balconies. The balconies project out in certain areas where the views overtop the existing buildings provide for more longer views and more ample outdoor space for the units above. You start to see the shaping of the top, the introduction of outdoor space, greenery at the top. We're very excited about the eaves elevation and this holding of the street edge and a vast improvement of the existing condition that hopefully serves as a precedent for future developments along this corridor. And a slight aerial view, again, bringing it all together, showing the richness of materiality, the color, the introduction of the balconies, the various expression of horizontal and vertically expressed precast, which provide a richness of shade and shadow, and this element along eaves, which holds the street edge, and we believe will make for really a wonderful pedestrian environment, and incorporating again all the elements of a vibrant neighborhood as called for in the sector plan, bringing together bicycle traffic, taking vehicular traffic off the street in one place, providing for an enlivened pedestrian experience with the richness of retail, landscaping, entries to the building. Thank you very much.